first meeting between the two leaders in 66 years. And this is certainly a landmark handshake. It's taken more than 2 years in the making. And even though the two sides mentioned previously that no joint statement will be issued and no documents will be signed, the fact that they're meeting here in Singapore is a very important progress in cross-strait relations. Hundreds of journalists from the mainland and Taiwan are there to witness this historic moment. Another important meeting between the two sides took place 23 years ago, also in Singapore. While the State Council Taiwan Affairs Office says the two sides' views on promoting the peaceful development of cross-strait relations. And the first part of the meeting will be open to the press, and they'll be talking behind doors for the details for the development of cross-strait relations. So certainly this is a very important photo opportunity, the handshake, and then the two leaders will be getting to the substance of their talks. After this meeting, both sides will hold press conferences before retiring for dinner. So the first meeting between leaders from both sides of the strait, and they've met the press. They're going to hold their talks from behind the doors.
Now this has left deep memories. The history has left some bad memories and irresistible. But the strait cannot prevent the relatives and friends from missing each other. The kinship, the power of kinship in the 1980s has pushed forward the dialogue between across the strait. Since 2000, the two sides across the strait have restarted the road toward mutual construction. There has been a lot of fruits of the development of the cross-strait relations. The two sides and people from the two sides have worked hard towards this end. Because of the 7 years down in history, we will be able to step forward such a historic step today. Now hereby, I would like to those who push forward cross-strait relations, I want to extend my sincere gratitude toward them. No matter how much difficulty, no power can separate us because we're kinsmen. And blood is thicker than water in our relationship. Now we're also in a development juncture in terms of our relationship. We cannot repeat historical tragedy. We cannot lose our development fruits. The people across the strait should continue to push forward a peaceful development and enjoy the fruitful fruits together. We should learn and reflect from the history of the cross-strait relationship. We must be responsible for history and make wise decisions that will stand the test of the history. We must act together and show the world that the Chinese people across the strait have every ability to handle our own issues and to contribute the regional peace and stability and world peace together. I hope the two sides across the strait can work together and stick to the 1992 consensus, consolidate our political foundation, and stick to a scientific development path and steer to the right direction of our development, deepen our exchanges and cooperation, increase the well-being of people across the strait, and push forward the great rejuvenation of the Chinese people. This is what I wanted to say for now. Thank you. Mr. Xi, friends from the two delegations across the strait and people present today, hello. Today, I and Mr. Xi, in the capacity of the leaders across the strait, we are holding the future of the two sides across the strait and history. Now, in 1993, in April that year, Mr. Ku and Mr. Wang held talks, and they inked 4 agreements, which laid the foundation of the mechanism of cross-strait dialogue. Now, I spoke with the founding president, Lee Kuan Yew of Singapore. I said that the development of the cross-strait relationship should base on the well-being of the two people. What's behind us is the long history of the cross-strait relationship. Now, in the past few years, we've decided to replace conflict with peaceful dialogue. And we have stuck to a path of prosperity and well-being. Now we can swear to the whole world our determination of peaceful development, a peaceful rise. We follow different political systems, but we developed dialogue in terms of military, in terms of economic cooperation. Now, this isn't done overnight. There are over 40,000 student exchanges, students across the strait, youth exchanges every year. There are over 170 billion US dollars of trade volume across the strait. Now, these are the fruits of the reform of the relationship. Now, this is what written in an ancient Chinese book, Shangshu, that we have to really trust each other and then seek pragmatic strategy. Now, past few years, we have reached a couple of cooperative deals across the strait. This falls into the common expectation across the strait and also the global community. Now, I want to make 5 proposals into peaceful development. Number 1, in 1992, in terms of the One China principle, we reached a consensus. In short form, it's called 1992 consensus. This is the political foundation, the cross-strait relationship that we both stick to. And on this very foundation, we'll be able to reach 23 agreements making the relationship at its very best in 66 years. Now, I'll explain that matter later. Secondly, we got to reduce animosity across the strait. We're never enemies like before. We cannot develop animosity, but we need to resolve conflict through dialogue. Third, we need to increase our exchanges and cooperation. We need to establish institutions on each other's side and create win-win cooperation. Four, we need to build hotlines on each other's side. At the two exchange foundations across the strait, we have established communication mechanisms. We also have to establish hotlines in this Mainland Affairs Council and also the Mainland's Taiwan Affairs Office to build China together. We're all descendants of the Chinese people. We should cooperate together and rejuvenate the Chinese nation. This is not out of our self-interest, but for the benefit of our future generations. We must value what people value and safeguard the peace across the strait to ensure that we have win-win cooperation. Mr. Xi, today's cross-strait relations is the most peaceful since 1994. In the past few years, always in a lot of Taiwan universities, I always see Taiwan students, they discuss, they research. Seen Taiwan and mainland students study together. This is really heartfelt. They are all very passionate and innovative